time to go to my other home. Well, today has been an upwind ride almost the entire way. The wind's coming from the west to the east, and I've been going northwest the whole time. But I'm finally here. Oh, it's a windy one. However, on the way here, I found some goodies thrown away in the trash. This and an umbrella. This thing is a handy dandy foldable box. I could definitely use this for something. And this might fit for the exhaust. Let's see. You are a little bit smaller. However, I'll find a use for you somewhere. And here's what all the seedlings look like. Everything, this is the only thing that hasn't been covered, and it dries out. Otherwise, the onions are still not popping out. And these are the fruit tree seeds. These are some more, still nothing. None of the new plants, though these old ones aren't doing so well. Here I've got some, I believe this is fennel. However, neither the rue nor the asparagus has come out. And here, nothing either. But I feel like this is too wet here for these little guys. And then the mustard is much bigger. Everything else is growing here. No apples yet. And I don't know how to tell if these will be growing. This one might be alive. And you haven't fully died yet. It's, what, past 11 now. Finally the sun came back out. And I'm gonna make some stakes so I can plan out where I'm gonna build. So I collected some of these dried out plants, and I'll see if they're sturdy enough to tie on some t-shirt strips onto them. So I found this old Sand Arts Festival t-shirt, which I'm going to cut up and turn into stakes. So here, these seem to be pretty sturdy. These are 2 sample stakes. Now to make like 30 more of them. So I finished making the stakes. They seem to be pretty good. I'm happy with the color, how they stick out. And I've got a set of extras. So yeah, this is where the house is going to be. I need to re-measure it. And one big project will be creating the driveway so that materials can be brought. I'm going to have to dig out these small pine trees and have it go this entire way. And I'll have to level this out so that a normal car or a truck can come in. Today's next project is one that I started yesterday. I bought these new sander discs, and I bought this pole last year, but I finally got it down so that it can fit into my piston, which I found in my apartment. And I'm gonna drill this in to keep this in place, and then I'll give it a test run. Got that back on there. Oh crap, you're missing a piece. We're missing this inner tube, which is supposed to fit in here. Okay, you're on. I connected you there. And you go in here, and I step on here. See how this works. So apparently this head doesn't fit through the neck of this. So I had to take it apart, but now I can give it a test. Oh, sounds promising. It's a bit of work, and it seems to get stuck on one part, but it works. One downside with all this pressure is that, yeah, I need to retighten this pipe. One thing to note is that it's devastating the piston head. I need to find something sturdier. I'm considering if I can find to cut out a disc or something to put in between these 2 layers. Last week, using the snow, I could finally clean this off and start using my chalkboard again, and it's helping me get organized again. Now I'm gonna go prepare what I need to do with the land where I'm gonna build. I'll run through this direction, which is different than I normally go, because I'm gonna have to make a driveway, another driveway for where my house is going to be over there. And it's got to go through this area. Probably through here would be quicker. So now is the time to decide and use some more stakes to plan it out. I'm thinking I could even make this a turnaround point for the cars to exit. But as you can see, the land here is super bumpy. It's going to be a lot of work to level it out with a shovel. Kids, here's another reason why you shouldn't smoke, so that other people don't have to pick up the trash afterwards. I've used up all of my stakes. However, I think I have an idea for how I want the cars to drive in. I'm thinking I can, with rope, support these branches upwards, and I'd have a nice little underhang to drive in through. And it would go, cut through here. I'd have to probably take these two trees out and everything that's in between these two flags and level all of this area, and then whatever pickup truck or big truck would drop off tools and supplies or whatever is needed for the tiny house, which I think will go here. And yeah, I think this wall here would be a good windbreaker if the door were to go into this. However, I need to meditate longer on this. One of the projects I've been working on my computer is learning how to use SketchUp 3D program as to plan out my house, as well as to make a base map of my land. So here is the progress of what I'm working on. So I'm making breakfast, and I think I found my most efficient setup yet for the rocket stove. I ditched this, and I widened the mouth a little so that it can get more direct flame. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's cooking so fast now. And here's what's cooking: potatoes and onions. April 6th, this is, I think, the first of many hot days. I opened this up and I took out the bars from this piece so that I can open it from this side. Previously, I'd have to open the greenhouse by lowering this top piece so that this other piece could slide up. Now this moves freely. And I did that for the same side. And I like the feel. I can reach the other side of all these plants here. And I gotta figure out what to plant. I think this is something other than a weed. I just don't know what this is. It's such weather that there's no excuse why I shouldn't go barefoot. Here, because it's the first of, I'm hoping for many warm days, I'm covering off the mulch so that the ground underneath it can heat up. And here's what it looks like right after taking it all off. Here I've already done some weeding. So there's a bunch of yarrow root and wild strawberry roots. And there's a few things which I don't know what they are. Like, I still haven't discovered what this is from last year. And these are edible, though. I'm wondering what'll happen if I leave some of them in. I'm not going to do anything right now except further weed. The difference I'm noting here compared to the other side. Last year, I laid compost directly on top of straw here. And as a result, I'm noticing there's a lot more mycorrhizal activity. I'm weeding out the same sort of weeds. Otherwise, I'm noticing a lot more nettles here, which is a good sign. So I'm leaving them because until I plant something more edible, they might as well grow. But everything else, I'm going to favor towards nothing. Go ahead and try to clear some of this garden, or these trees from the garden, because they really have no future here. I'm going to leave one little token here, so not to totally kill this, but yeah, I'm wondering how I can expand this into the following year. I'm seeing how good it turned out planning ahead the previous year, so yeah, this whole area is open. So I'm pretty happy with the progress I've done. There's so many networks of weeds that I pulled out. For example, here's one weed I found just zigzagging across. I'm realizing I need to make this more into a raised garden bed, otherwise it's a never-ending battle. It's still going to be a never-ending battle with the weeds, but a lot of them are just coming from underneath, and they're intertwining across the garden bed underneath the straw. So, such a beautiful day. Rigo just called me out to meet him halfway at the stone quarry. Or, it's not a real quarry, they're just digging out a lot of land there, and they've got lots of stones. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna see what they have that I could use for the foundation of my house. So here I turned off the road and going towards the river. I'm going south now, towards the quarry. Woo! This all used to be land, then they dug it out, so now we have rocks. It looks so idyllic, but it's just a quarry. I forgot to get video footage of the stones, but they'd be around this big, and it would only cost you around 140 euros to bring 6 tons over to my place. So this trip was very fruitful, as well as being an excuse to get out of the house. I found some really good stones, which I think I could build a whole house, the foundation, everything, just from a whole truckload, a single truckload of the stones that are there. But that's for another time. Now I'm focused on getting back. I still need to dig out a driveway. I have no way to get the stones if I were to have the foundation pieces delivered. Though I don't feel like I've kept as many updates of everything that's going on today. There have been several things. For example, I noticed a wet spot underneath my towel. That's why you can see the stuff, my bed stuff hanging. And everything here for the night, I covered it back up. And tomorrow morning, once it'll be hot again, I'll uncover it. So to let the ground underneath soak up as much heat as possible. And I pulled out the first few buckets today. I'm realizing that I'm finding some crap that I used to try to hook these pipes together. Realizing the more crap you use, the more crap you have to clean up. I may have closed shop at my place, but the sun is still shining elsewhere. As I'm going for a hike up to the top of the hill. There's still some of the most beautiful views on this hilltop. Oh, how I envy the viewer view. So I haven't been very active with the GoPro. However, I've been active planting seeds. I planted arugula and spinach mixed in here alongside the chervil. And now I'm planting, or I'm inoculating wood chips here with wine cap. It's Stropharia rugosa, Stropharia. And I'm wondering where to do the yellow oysters, somewhere nearby. I'm gonna plant the mushrooms behind the greenhouse where it gets more shaded, and maybe in the future This will be all connected. There's going to be a future garden bed in the back corner, so anything I water here can water other things on the wall. So I didn't show the process of how to inoculate. Basically what I learned is to make lasagna with wine caps. I used more wood chips. However, with oyster mushroom, I heard that straw works excellent. So I'm gonna break this up here. Next, I add another layer of straw. Probably some more. And I repeat the process with the mushroom. Breaking it up, and also I water it so that the mushroom can be all moist and grow. And just because I have it here easily, I'm gonna mix in some mulch, but mostly straw. So I'm starting to see some onions popping out here. And there's some new things coming out here. I can't recall, this is either cabbage or leek. Fennel's growing. Still nothing from the rue or asparagus. Maybe that's an asparagus? We'll see. And still nothing new here yet either. These are dying. Now it's nettle season again. I'm preparing some for breakfast. 15 minutes or so, and I've got a little bucket's worth. I've got my rope, and I'm gonna go get a start on the driveway entrance. It's that tree. I want to lift up some of the branches so that I would have a little underhang as I drive into this residence. I want to see if I can get these tips up as high as possible so that even a big truck delivering a load could get through. Not a problem. It took a little while to clean up all the branches in here so that I can tie that end and climb up in here. Here's the other side, other perspective of the entrance. So the cars will be coming from there. And so this, mainly, these three branches can all go up. So here I tied it up around the top of that. I need a strong hand, basically arugula, to help me lift this while I fasten it. Next task. Today night we inoculated some logs with lion's mane, and we're gonna finish it up later today. I'm just flipping these logs so that both ends get wet and get as saturated as possible. And we'll drill more holes today. Here I'm gonna plant some beetroot albino ice and Detroit 2 Bolivar. I've got these holes, and I'm thinking I'm gonna plant them together, just 2 in each hole. And this whole half I planted with white radish, or white icicle radish, up until this plant here. I'm gonna get some more sticks to demarc it. I've been pretty lazy, especially last week, cleaning potatoes, but this morning I went to my neighbor's and I'm cooking and eating normal food again. It's Thursday, my 5th day here this week, and it's been a busy week. I've been very bad about documenting today. Just getting the GoPro out and the camera just seemed like more of a hassle. I just wanted to do work. However, I did get work done. I completed this corner of the greenhouse. I made steaks, and the eagle just dropped off some sweet potatoes, which are probably going to die, but I threw in a little bed there, similar to here, but without the chicken manure. As far as seedlings progress, I noticed my first apple tree is popping out. I'm so happy that's working. And I'm not positive, but I think these branches are already, most of them are letting out roots. They seem to be a lot sturdier and as if they're growing. And I transplanted the currant a few days ago, but it's not doing too good. It's moist, but I don't know. The others arugula dropped off are dying as well. So I need to figure out, maybe just the hot and the cold nights are just too much for the little seedlings. However, the fennel's growing. My first pea is growing. And these guys also died after transplanting. So they were planted in here originally, and I had some new things that popped out, which I transplanted this morning. So things are growing. And about a week later, my first onions are popping out. They're all over the place. So I think I'm going back to Vilnius today, and I'm trying to match the coolest days so that things don't dry out while I'm gone. Last year, all the flowers in front of my apartment were giving seed. I collected many of them, and I don't really know what they are, but here's next to my kitchen. The soil has some compost with fertilizer in it, so I might as well grow something pretty instead of food. So we'll see what comes out of this. So I mixed in a bunch of seeds. Now I'm gonna water it, see what grows. I just dug up these 2 buckets of compost from around 12 spots around their separate areas, and I'm gonna go show what I just planted this morning. I've got newly planted plums here and here and in like 10 other places. So with this compost, I'm gonna prepare some better ground for these. My neighbor had a bunch of these trees growing in the way of her greenhouse, and she was going to get rid of them. So I just went on a frenzy and came back with a wheelbarrow full and just started planting them everywhere. I imagine many of them probably will die, though I'll be happy if a few survive. And there's the biggest one I planted next to the road. I imagine he's got the lowest likelihood of survival. That's just my guess. I laid a nice thin layer of compost down all over its tail. I think I count 11 of these peach plum trees of various sizes. Along the path, there's one behind where the house will be, one over there, and mainly along the driveway. Rigo just towed over a truck for a back load of full, so I'm gonna use this to throw around my plums. There on the side of the road, I even transplanted some garlic that was growing in between the weeds, and I forgot to mulch this one apple tree, but I forgot to throw compost on the little guy, but I'll mulch him. So yeah, there's 12, not 11. I'm going around and laying a nice layer on each of them, and I imagine this will improve my chances. This might be overkill because I watered them good before, after I planted them earlier this morning. But before I leave, I want to wet the compost and the mulch. All 12 trees got re-watered. Now it's time to pack up and go home into Vilnius. I'm trying now to plan the trips back with how the wind is blowing. That's it for this week in Peklina. Not sure what time it is, but I imagine it'll be a lot darker by the time I get back. Well, it feels like this wind is somewhat going my way. Find out. I had the wind on my back and I made it home. Until next week.